In this tutorial, we're going to show you how to create back number labels. In order to do this, you will need Microsoft Office installed on your computer. So, let's get started. The first thing that you do is open up the show for which you want to create labels and go to the Reports tab. Then you press the button Back Label CSV Export, and this will automatically create and download a file with all of the information that you will need for your back labels. The next thing that we do is bring up Microsoft Word on our computer. Now, your version of Word may not be identical to mine, but we're going to be using the same Word functions, so you should be able to follow along in any case. After we've brought up Word, the first thing that we do is go to Mailings, and then Start Mail Merge, and bring up the wizard by clicking on Step-by-Step Mail Merge Wizard. When we do that, the wizard appears on the right-hand side of our screen, and because we're doing labels, we click the Label button. And then we move to the next step. And in this next step, we will select the type of labels we want. And you do that by clicking on Label Options. That will bring up a dialog box with the literally dozens of types of labels that Microsoft Word supports. I like Avery 5160 labels, but select the type that's best for you and click OK. When you do that, you see the label format appear on your page. In this case, it's going to be 3 up for me, and I'm happy with that format, so we click the next step. And in this step, we'll define the data that we're going to use in our labels, and this is the CSV file that you've exported from ESM. You do that by clicking Browse, and I know that my data file was downloaded into my Downloads folder, so I'll go there, and I saw that it was 159, so I'll pick that out. That brings up the data file. You can sort it in any order you want. The default sort is horse number. I'm happy with that, so I'm going to click OK and move on. Now we're going to go to the next step, in which we actually specify the fields that are going to be on our label and format them. We click More Options, and that brings up a dialog box with all of the fields available to us. You can use any or all of these fields on your horse label. I'm going to use just a few. So I'm going to start with horse number by inserting it, and then horse name, and I want the trainer's name, and I also want the riders, and the riders will also include the classes in which those riders are registered. Those are all the fields that I want, so now I can close that dialog box and do some formatting on the label to make it look the way that we want. The first thing I'll do is put horse trainer on a separate line and riders on a separate line. And then I'd like a space between horse number and horse name. And I want horse number and horse name to be bolded, so they'll be easier to see. So I just bold them. And I'm going to bring the horse number up by about 1 point, again, so it's easier to see on the label. So I'll bring it from 11 to 12. And finally, I'd like to put labels on the horse trainer and riders fields so that we know what they are. So to do that, I just type the label that I want in front of them. There's the trainer label, and now let's type rider. And that's our label format. I'm happy with that, so I'm going to click Update All Labels and put that format on all of the labels that we're generating. Don't worry that it looks a little bit ugly. The next step, we'll see what it looks like with our live data. And there's our labels. As you can see, the class numbers that each rider is registered in are shown in brackets behind the rider's name. And if there's 2 riders on a horse, in this case in Happiness, Nicole Weatherall and Hannah Muscle, the classes for each rider appear in or behind their names, and there's a slash between them. Now, some riders have classes with dashes, and what that means is that in the case of Thomas Test 8, a kind of blue, he's registered 3 times in class 18 and 4 times in class 19. The reason you can do that is these are open schooling classes and allow multiple rounds per rider. When you're happy with your labels, the final step is to print them. And so we do that by clicking on Next, which is complete the merge, and print. Make sure you have your labels loaded in your printer. Select all and click OK. And that brings up your familiar print dialog box. You click OK and your labels are complete. And that's how you create back labels with Equestrian Show Manager.